Hey, everybody. I have a special show for you today. I'm going to be interviewing Vevian Vozmediano. Did I get that right? Yes.
Vozmediano,
Okay.
exactly. You're so good.
Yes, I got it right. Okay, so Vevian has been a witness, or she was, I should say, since you were 6 years old, right? So almost a born-in. And she's an amazing woman. She's gone off to do all kinds of really cool things I wish I could do. So we're going to just ask some questions. It's, I already told you it's a really relaxed thing. But I think what I want to get across to my viewers is that once you leave, it's not sad and, how we're always taught that it's just such a negative thing. And that's why I wanted to interview you, was to show, I started this channel for women, but I know I have a lot of male viewers too, which is great. But I just wanted to show everybody how far we can go and how much we can do regardless of the indoctrination that we had. So anyway, I'm just going to ask you and let you just, expound from there. I know that, like I said, you were 6 years old when your mom started studying, and I know you came over here when you were, was it when you were 6 from Iraq?
So I was 1.5 when I came to America, and my mom got baptized in 1986. I believe it was the Pontiac Silverdome or Belleville or one of those places. In 1986 when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And she had learned about the religion from her sister, my aunt.
Who was already, she was already a witness. And
he was already a witness, yeah.
So do you remember anything like before, like your life before being a witness? Because you were 6, so.
I do not. We used to celebrate, I was born Catholic. Chaldean is my nationality, and I was born Catholic, and we used to celebrate Christmas and all that kind of stuff back when my family lived in Iraq. And my dad would always say that my mom was an angel when they first got married and when they lived in Iraq. But my mom was 14 and my dad was 32 when they got married. So it was a huge age difference, and she was very young, and she had all 3 of us by the time she was 22, and she moved to America when she was 23. So, and my dad was 41. So they were very young, and she was, like I said, very young, and not only young, but very vulnerable. And the Jehovah's Witnesses offered this huge community of support. And that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people join the religion, is because of the community and the support. And also they prey on vulnerable people. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much about this right now, but they prey on vulnerable. They prey on vulnerable people. So the fact that my mom was new to the country, and sure, she had a sister that was already in the religion, but there was also this huge community of people. And back then there wasn't that many Arabic speaking Jehovah's Witnesses, but there were a couple. And my mom had already like found a small community of people there. And then it grew and grew and grew. My mom very quickly became a regular pioneer, and she's been a regular pioneer for over 30 years now. But right after she became a Jehovah's Witness, my dad started hitting her, and to the point where she almost died, and he got put off to jail. And I saw that, and his rage was just immense, and it was really scary. And he also used to call her a whore, bitch, slut in Arabic. And something that used to really just set me off, and just it was a trigger, was my dad would rip the magazines and the books, like even the covers, he would rip them. My mom would hide the magazines and the books inside like weird places, and shoe boxes, inside of a dishwasher we didn't use, and like detergent boxes, underneath mattresses. And my dad would randomly find stuff. And since my mom was a regular pioneer, she had so much literature. So my dad would randomly find stuff and then spend like hours just like tearing it apart in front of my mom. My mom would start crying, and then he would take all the literature that he ripped up and spread it around the house like confetti. So the noise of like anyone like tearing paper would set a trigger off in me for a couple of years after I even left the organization. So it was just, I had to really just disassociate separate myself from that moment to today. And it takes some time to do that as well. So yeah, that's my story. And it got better. My dad got cancer when I was 26, 25 in the early 2000s. And I had stopped talking to him for 5 years. But then when he got cancer, kind of set him to like being a nicer person. So he was no longer abusing my mom, but he's still calling her names. And to this day, they're married, but they should not be married. One of those kind of people. And at this point, it's almost like, they've lived with each other for so long. I don't even know what they would do without each other.
Right.
My dad's 83. So it is what it is. And my mom's just like so brainwashed, and she's nothing without the Jehovah's Witness organization. So even if she didn't believe anymore, which I don't think that's ever
Right.
possible, because
That's
she's so brainwashed and in it, because she's a regular pioneer. Even if she had like an ounce of disbelief, she like built this huge life, and she's so iconic in the Arabic community as a Jehovah's Witness. Like she's like Jesus
yeah.
in the Arabic community. And that was her daughter. I was underneath her. So even if she had like an ounce of disbelief, she built up this huge thing for herself that without Jehovah's organization, she's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like she doesn't have anything to fall back on. She never had a career. She doesn't have any like strong habits or strong things that she did with her life besides preaching and like trying to convert people. She did things here and there, but yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that's the reason they do that though, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when you're especially younger in it, what do they tell you not to do? Don't go to school. Be careful what kind of job you get. Pick the, I mean, I'm not ripping on window washers or contractors, because I mean, my husband and son do contracting HVAC work. So yeah, those are great. Trades are wonderful, but they tell you not to get into anything that would take up too much time. Well, what happens then? You get older in life, and life has passed you by, and now you have this maybe a little bit of an income, and you're kind of stuck, right? So, and you have your whole community, like you said, your mom is an icon in that community. She can't even fathom walking away and everybody else saying, oh my gosh, she was a witness, because in her mind she believes that would be a bad witness, because that's what they teach.
Absolutely.
That it would be a bad witness.
Absolutely.
So okay, and I know you have family up there. So everybody, ironically enough, we didn't know this until we met, that we are both from the exact same area in Michigan. She knows some of my family, and friends and all kinds of things. So it's odd, but that's just, so when she says Pontiac Silverdome, I know exactly what she's talking about, and up in Michigan. But you still have like an aunt up there, you have cousins, you said, so you have a lot of family that don't speak to you because you are just fellowship now. So tell us a little bit about what happened with that.
So I have my mom's sister, who I never had a good relationship with her. And then I have my uncle, who actually walked me down the aisle. It's her husband. He's been an elder for decades. And he walked me down the aisle when I got married the first time. So he was like a father figure to me. My dad was never really around, and he was being abusive. I never got a chance. He never said, I love you, never kind of had any kind of emotional connection with him whatsoever. He was just financial support, which, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But my uncle was more like a father figure to me, and he did care for me. And yeah, he walked me down the aisle. And I used to have a couple more cousins, but they have slowly left. And then I have my dad's niece and her daughter. They live in Canada. They live in Ottawa. And I have a couple of other cousins that are inactive that I've like reached out to. And I actually also have more cousins that my mom has tried to convert, that their childhood was like ruined because my mom has tried to convert their mom. And fortunately, I recently kept in contact with them, and they reached out to me. So had an interaction with them, and I didn't realize how much my mom kind of split up their family and ruined their family. And it happened when they were kids. And yeah, 20, 30 years ago in the 90s, it was just a different life. And I felt really bad when cousins reach out and they told me that like my mom tore their family apart because they got introduced to the witnesses. And yeah, it's a very sad and, you know, lonely kind of
when
place
you're
to
in
be.
it, you feel like you're doing something really good. I know I did, you know, I mean, we remember that. I mean, I've told my viewers, I always felt like something was weird for me since I was a kid, because, you know, I'm a 4th generation born in, but at the same time, you still, when you're in it, every single meeting and every single week, and they keep you so busy, in your mind, you're helping other people, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say that they're good people in there. I know I've had one viewer that kind of dropped a comment below my last video about, well, how can you say they're good people? Well, I'm not saying that the leadership is good. I'm not saying that the whole organization is good, but there are good people in it. And I know they feel like they're doing what's right, or they wouldn't, you know, most of them would not do it, you know, so.
Absolutely. But they also view abuse as a badge of honor. If you're getting abused as a Jehovah's Witness for being a witness, it's a badge.
Sorry.
You know, it's okay. It's a badge of honor. So the fact that my mom was getting beaten by my dad because she was a witness, the brothers were like, "Good for you."
They love
like
persecution.
Still upholding Jehovah.
They love persecution. I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, they do. Okay, so I know that you got married before. And kind of tell me what happened. So what happened with you getting, like, you being married, then you woke up, obviously. I know you went through a divorce, but I'm not really sure how all that fits in. We never really talked about that. So go ahead.
So I got married when I was 24 and Chris was 22. And there was so much going on with my family, so much drama. My family's a lot of drama, very loud. The abuse was getting really bad. All I wanted was to belong to a normal family, and I wanted to belong to an American family, because Americans for me were just like calm and more like, I don't know, there was just something about the difference between my Middle Eastern family and the American family. So I don't feel that way anymore. But as I was in my early 20s, I didn't like being Middle Eastern. So I met Chris, my ex-husband, and I was initially friends with his sister. And so I was a massage therapist, and I was a massage therapist at a spa at the airport. And I had to go to a Kingdom Hall that was near that area, because I needed to go to a Sunday meeting in the early morning just so I can make it to the Sunday meeting. And I became friends with his sister, and that was, I think it was the Allen Park congregation or the Lincoln Park congregation. Now I'm drawing a blank. And I became friends with his sister, and then met her brother, and I was like, "Oh, is he single?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it'd be so great if you guys can date." And we just started dating, and we dated for, he's a very nice guy, and we dated for a year, and then, you know, his parents were very nice to me, and his sister and the brother was super nice to me, and we dated for a year, got engaged. We got engaged Thanksgiving of 2003, and then we got married 2004. I was 24. Yeah, we got married in May 2004, and then I was married to him, and he was just really uncomfortable with himself. He was 6'4", and he didn't like the fact that he was that tall. He did have like a bigger nose. He's half German, and he was insecure about that. He was insecure about like his physique. He did end up getting like different kind of surgery. He had gynecomastia. He ended up getting liposuction. And maybe I'm being like talking too much about him, but I just want you to know like how things. Sure. Yeah. He was just not happy with himself and different body parts, and the insecurity in himself got projected onto me and made me feel really insecure about myself. And also, he didn't allow me to have friends. And so when it came to even hanging out with girlfriends, it was like he didn't really want me to have friends or having long conversations with people. He would like question why I was talking to people and talking to men. Like I was flirting with every single guy that I talked to. And I didn't know how to act actually around his guy friends, because it's like I couldn't even have like a normal conversation. So it just got progressively worse year after year. And the first years I didn't really register until I was like, I had my own job, he had his own job. And then he would also say things like when people invited us over, he said, oh, we're busy. And being busy was just staying home and doing nothing. And like, I would want to go out to Chicago for the weekend. He's like, why would you want to go to Chicago? There's so many people there. That's not a vacation. Like it just got really not good. And it just kept on getting worse. And I had talked to him so many times and he told me he would try to get better, but it would just go back and forth. Anyways, so I was married to him. This was 2011. I actually befriended a guy that was sitting next to me on my flight to visit my sister in Vegas. And we kept in contact and we ended up having sex one time in July of 2011. And the story, I'm very open with it. I've actually have been open with it, even with my immediate family. And my mom got super mad at me because she has shame and all this other stuff. And I really, I've owned my story and this is me. I did not have an affair. It was literally, I had sex with this guy one time in July. And then I didn't tell my ex until November. It was Thanksgiving again, like Thanksgiving weekend around that time. I was like, okay, I need to tell him. And I told him that weekend. And I was like, I want a divorce. I'm like, I've been unhappy for a really long time and you're so controlling and I just can't take it anymore. I can barely breathe. Like I already have the control of the religion. And then you're like another control. Like I did not want to get married to this. So he's just like, I still want to get married. I still want to be married to you. And I don't think we should get a divorce. I think this is something we should work on. We need to talk to the elders immediately. So within a couple of days, we were in the back school with the 3 elders. And I told them the story and I'm like, look, like we've tried to work on this for a while and you're really insecure. And I even said this in front of the elders. I said, if we stay together, I'm probably going to cheat on you again. I'm just being honest. And that kind of like threw a whirlwind to the elders. I just wanted to be honest because I don't want to like hype him up for something that is going to let him down again. And I don't want to be married to you anymore. And I told him, like, why would you want to be married to somebody who doesn't want to be married to you? It does not make sense. Like, stop. Because that is like insecurity and like a really another level. So the elders, and still in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to get this fellowship because I'm being super honest. Like, that's never going to happen to me. If anything, I might get like my privileges taken away. I did not even like 1% of me thought I was going to get this fellowship. So go away. And then they come back and they're like, you're going to be disfellowshipped. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And I remember, you know, there was a girl in my congregation that got reinstated after 6 months, and I heard people getting reinstated after 6 months. I'm like, that's going to be me. I'm going to get reinstated in 6 months. Like, everything is going to be fine. 6 months is no time. They'll be fine. So 6 months passed. I wrote my first letter, got denied. Then I moved to Chicago. And when I moved to Chicago, I was like, okay, I can start a new life here. I'll go to congregation. No one knows me. And I started a project where I lived with families and I taught them, I got to know them, the kids and the parents, and I taught them how to make healthy recipes based on their family's wants and needs. And then I was also creating e-cookbooks. So my audience was growing on Instagram. I started my Instagram April of 2012, the month that I got divorced, the month my divorce became final. And then my audience started growing. I started a project and I can talk a little bit more about that, but back to the time where I was still living in Michigan, my ex-husband actually came into my apartment that I was living in. It was April, and I'm sorry, it was like the end of March, and he was knocking on my door at like 4 a.m. and I opened the door. I was living in like a 500 square foot studio. I was sleeping on the couch because I didn't want to get a bed because I was like, this is not my permanent place. Anyways, opened the door at 4 a.m. and he's like, I met the guy that you had sex with. He's not as good looking as me. And
wow,
I really want us, I really want us to work out because I've never wanted to get a divorce. He's like, please just take the day off and let me prove it to you that, you know, I've changed and things are great. So I'm like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. So I actually ended up going to, I I had the day off. I was a nanny for a family. I took the day off. We went out to breakfast, and he was just saying things like already dissing the place we went to, and it was like one of my favorite places to go to breakfast. Had an amazing omelet, and he was already like dissing, like just not being the nicest. Yeah, exactly. And we got back in his car, and he's like, well, I don't want to go ahead with the divorce. He's like, so I'm just gonna leave it up to you. When do you want to do this? I'm like, tomorrow. Like, I don't want this anymore. Like, I already told you, like, I don't know why you're trying. Like, tomorrow, like, this is it. So within a couple weeks, the divorce was final. And that was kind of like the end of that. And then I hadn't contacted him again until my move from Chicago to California. And I told you that story yesterday, but when I moved from Chicago to California, my engine died because I was hauling a U-Haul on my Ford Focus, and it wasn't enough for the engine. So it completely went off. And I was like, who is a person that I could speak to? And that was my ex-husband, who's an engineer at Ford. And I was just talking to him. I was like, yeah, at that point I had wrote 4 letters, and they were all denied. I would have anxiety attacks. There was no one to be friends with. I had no friends in real life, but I did have my social media, and that was my community of people that were my cheerleaders. They were people that believed in me, and they were people that I could just be myself around, and that they were supportive. So it was just like this, it was perfect, the perfect storm, if that makes sense. And he's like, oh, but it sounds like you're doing all the right things. I'm sure you're gonna get reinstated in no time, because at that point it had been 2 years, and 4 letters. That was the Christmas weekend of 2013, and then I got disfellowshipped early December of 2011. So I had 2.5 days for my drive from Chicago to California to kind of sit with this idea of like, okay, it's been 2 years since I wrote my
Did they give you reasons for that? What were when you turned in your letters, did you get to meet with them, or did they just flat turn you down?
Yeah, no. So they told me, like, my last one, they still told me like there hadn't been enough time. But as I told you,
and where does that come from? Where does the timeline come from? Because you've got people that are 6 months out, or in less than a year, and then you've got people at a year, and who decides how much time of your life they get to say, you're not ready for this,
No, exactly. And I really think that the elders from my original congregation wanted me to suffer. So they kept on prolonging, because my ex-husband, he had told me that he started drinking after. He thought he was going to commit suicide, like in his car, and like close the garage. I'm just like, he just told me all of these things as I was speaking to him.
Yeah.
I was I can't.
Sounds like
so I'm sure he told this to the elders, and I'm just like, I can't help you. And then he would say like, yeah, all the girls I'm dating, I'm comparing them to you, and just like things to make me not feel good about what I'm doing. But yeah, it gave me 2.5 days after the conversation from my drive from Chicago to California to really think about, okay, do I really want to go back? It doesn't seem like I'm meant to go back, because it's been so many times of trying. And then I decided, like, I really have been trying to be a witness for my mom. My mom has never been a supportive mom, and I've always tried to win her approval. And I got baptized initially because I wanted her validation. I have 2 older sisters who are not Jehovah's, who were never baptized. They would kind of come to the meetings every now and again, but as teenagers, they were very rebellious, and they never got baptized, and then they just became quote unquote worldly. And I wanted to be the good girl in the family. I wanted to be the support my mom needed, because she had a really rough life. And I'm like, my mom deserves one of her daughters to follow her footsteps, because she's a good woman and blah, blah, blah. Like, I made this whole story up in my head. So I said I was going to be that good girl for my mom and be a witness, get baptized, and do all the things my mom wanted me so I could win her love. But I never won her love. She needs to find her own love in herself. But once I really kind of realized I was in the religion for my mom, and I also missed the community, I wasn't really having a relationship with Jehovah. I just said, like, when I moved to California, I had a Kingdom Hall near me. I said, if I feel like I need to go back to the Kingdom Hall, there's a Kingdom Hall near me. I know where it is. I can go back there, but I'm just going to see what my life is going to be like not being witness. I have no idea what it's like. That
Well,
sounds
yeah,
scary as fuck.
because how many times are we told in the watchtowers that as soon as you're out, you know, you're going to be some drug addict or prostitute on the side of the road. I mean, how many experiences, which I'm still not sure where they get those experiences from. I'm not going to say they're lying, but you know, it's just they make you so afraid.
No,
you know, so
no, it's
that's why,
ridiculous.
yeah. That's why we feel
no, it's scary because you don't even know how to have a normal conversation with people. The conversations that we had with quote unquote worldly people was to convert them.
Right.
You know, you would have that's it. You would have an associate that would like kind of turn into a friend, and then you would hope that you can witness to them at some point.
And in our minds, somewhere in the back of our minds, it was, but they're worldly, so they can't. There's no way they can be a good person. And on top of that, they're going to die, you know? So part of, I don't know about you, but part of me felt so bad. Like if I made friends with somebody and thought to myself, oh my gosh, they're going to die in Armageddon. Then here you have all this stress on your, you know, like weight on your shoulders to, whether you believe everything or not, you're still being told they're going to die and you're blood guilty. So yeah.
Exactly.
So I know, I was gonna say, let's see. So you were saying that you kind of realized you didn't really have that relationship with Jehovah, but was there a point when you finally said, okay, I don't even think this is real, and you woke up to
absolutely. I think it was around that same time. I'm like, you know, the whole talk about it being a cult and an organized religion, and there's always like the rules were constantly changing. It was literally like I was in this meditation for that whole 2 days. I'm like exactly all the religion and how it has manifested from when my mom got baptized in the 80s to now, and how it's, like I said, constantly changing, how they never had any kind of like real stability, and everything was like, oh, it's up to your conscience, and like all this like fluffy stuff. It just didn't feel right in my soul. And I was just like, you know what, I know that I still have a lot to deprogram, but it's going to come easily. It's going to take time. I knew that. So I knew that it was going to take time, but I also knew that it was not for me.
Yeah. Okay. So then you went to California and you've been everywhere, which I mean is amazing. I know like last week you were in Barcelona taking pictures. Right now you're streaming from Sweden, right? Yeah. That's where she lives, everybody. She lives in Sweden. And I mean, you've been all over the place. You've done, sorry, my dog is now chasing her tail in the camera. She's a superstar now. She's going to be on YouTube. Well. Anyway, so tell everybody like, so then how did you get from California to, I know you met your husband and then you moved?
So what happened is my husband actually started following me on Instagram because I had a coupon code for a protein powder. It was one of the clean protein powders, the first clean protein powders that was available back in the US. And I was the first ambassador, and I said, use my coupon code Vevian for 25% off. And he started following me for my coupon code, but I was also very vulnerable on social media. I had never said I was a Jehovah's Witness, but I said that I belonged in a cult. I talked about my family. I talked about my divorce. So intermittently, like between these like healthy recipes, like I would post different things, like really being open and vulnerable about my life. And he said that he felt like he got attached to me. So my husband is half, sorry about that. My husband is half Swedish and half Spanish. His father is from Spain and his mom is Swedish. And he was he lived in Barcelona for 5 years before he moved to Miami. So he moved to Miami just for 5 months to actually start a business with a friend, but his friend completely ditched him, which is like a whole nother story. But he reached out to me and he said, you seem like a cool girl. I am going to be in LA and I would love to meet you. And I said, I looked at his profile. He didn't have that many pictures, but he was really good looking. And it's like, this is an April Fool's joke. This is definitely not real. And then I said, sure, like we can meet or we can talk. And he sent me a video of him saying, this is not an April Fool's joke. And then we just started talking and it really hit off. And we met that weekend and he wasn't supposed to stay with me, but he did end up staying with me for the whole weekend, which is like something so on Jehovah's Witness. That was the first time I actually had somebody staying with me for an extended amount of time like that. Not Jehovah's Witness.
So funny.
I mean, I had been obviously, or not obviously, because I had been with other guys in that period of time, but like for somebody to stay with me for an extended time like that,
how awful everything.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
I've talked about that in one of my videos, because it does carry over into your life when you're taught
100%.
so shameful. There's so much shame and guilt and fear around just being a human, or a woman, and feeling like we do. It's like, so I want to go back really quick to what made you think, okay, did you read something, or did you look into something that said, okay, wow, we're a cult? I mean, I've said that, I've made a video on it, and I obviously realize it, but I had a lot of reasons why I looked into it. But what made you look at it and say, wow, there's no way in this world this is an organized religion, it's an actual cult? Like, what woke you up to that?
I would like to say it was from my own my own thoughts, but I have to credit it to my first experience with ayahuasca, and then going and working with plant medicines and realizing how brainwashed I was. My dad used to always tell my mom how brainwashed she was and that she belonged in a cult, but I was like, absolutely not. So my dad's voice came into my head during one of my psychedelic experiences of saying my mom was in a cult and saying that she was brainwashed. And his voice, like, he would say it all the time, intermittently with saying that she's a whore, cunt, like all these words in Arabic. And I was just like, like blocking it. But then, came to my head, like, he was right. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And that was like an awakening
a light
for
bulb
me, because
went on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can look at things like, I mean, like me, I read books, on,
I didn't.
Yeah. See, I
stayed away from all of that.
Oh, wow.
I stayed away from all of that.
You just kind of realized it, but but of course now, if you did read things, you'd go, oh yeah, that matches that, or, yeah.
100%.
And it's crazy,
it was
your dad knew. Your dad knew.
100%.
But you can't.
Yes, he did.
You can't tell anybody that. You just, because when you realize it, I know for me, all of a sudden one day I went, oh my gosh, I woke up at 55. So, so to all of a sudden say, wait, not only do I know I don't have the truth, because no one does. We're all born to do what we do. Somebody started a religion 130 years ago, Russell, that says, okay, now this is it, with no backing by, there's no divine intervention that came down or anything, just boom, that's, it is what it is. But it's shocking, right? I mean, your brain just kind of goes, I can't. But for me, I got like past it, and it seems like you did too, pretty quick. I mean, you just kind of, because you've gone on to do so many awesome things. Tell me how you moved.
Thank you.
Tell me how you moved to Sweden. Because that's, so I'll let you finish the story with your husband. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
No. We met and we fell in love on a weekend, and then I actually dropped him off at the airport, and I just kind of didn't even say goodbye to him, because I was like, he's really good looking, he's a player, I'm a mess. Like, how am I going to explain being an Jehovah's Witness to him?
When we come out,
exactly.
Hey,
and then my family is super crazy. Like, how am I going to explain my family to him? Like, I don't want to even, like, this is not going to happen. Like, I don't want to get my heart broken again. I've been through way too much. So I'm just like, no. So he just really took it very interestingly, because he actually ended up, his flight got delayed, and he wrote me a really long email saying, I thought we had something, like, I'm not what you're assuming. And I then responded to him like, okay, if you say this is how it is, then okay. he flew back to me and we still were like fighting. What got me is when he was at my place again, he told me, I just want to love you. And I didn't realize that I had that many walls up until he said that. I'm just like, that's such a basic desire and a thing that he wants to do. And he's very genuine about it. Like, what the fuck's my problem? Do I have that many walls up? Okay, let me reanalyze everything in my life right now. Okay, this is a good guy. He comes from a good family and I respect him. And he was a very different person than I was. He was like, he owned an event planning company in Barcelona. He's like a professional partier, party all the time. And here I was like this angel, like Virgin Mary, being a Jehovah's Witness. So we were like completely different. He has a very high energy, and I'm just more like, I describe his energy as like fire, and I'm more like earth. So we're very like different, but we balance each other. We have the same values, and that was really important. That was really important to me. So after he said that, I opened up and we got engaged like that weekend. So we got engaged 3 weeks after we met. And then within 2 months, we were married. So we met for the first time, April 3rd. He reached out to me April 1st, and then April 3rd, we met for the first time. And then June 4th of 2014, we were married. So within 2 months, we were married. Awesome. And then it was a whirlwind. Now we've been married for 7 years.
Awesome. Well, so then once you guys got married, obviously you still had pretty much, I hate to call it baggage, but that's what we bring with us, leaving the organization.
Absolutely.
I think that, women have, well, I know men have baggage too, I shouldn't say that, but we carry baggage from our childhoods, from previous relationships and all kinds of things. But then when you put on it, the organization, now you've got this idea about yourself or belief in your, that you don't believe in yourself. You don't feel like you deserve anything. And I mean, that's just one of those things. And I think that a lot of my viewers will totally relate to this, is we were told our whole lives that we don't even deserve love from God. It's undeserved, or kindness, I should say, not love, undeserved kindness from God. Remember that? He gives us undeserved kindness. So we were told we don't even deserve that. We don't deserve that kindness from him, and we're good for nothing slaves. They used to say that all the time. And that was supposed to be a good thing. So that messes with your mind to the point where you start going, well, that's how I should feel. And I'm relating this from my own mind. I'm not telling you how you felt. That's how I felt. I don't deserve kindness. I don't deserve to be loved. I should stay in my lane, basically, because that's what we were told, right? So it's how did you, I would imagine you went through obviously a period of time. What's your husband's name? First name?
Benjamin.
Okay, Ben.
Benjamin.
So you and Ben went through this time, obviously, where you had to adjust to, I do deserve for him to just love me, like you said. And I do deserve to be happy. And how did that come gradual, or was it like one day a light went on when you realized that you were happy and with him? Or
it took a lot. I'm just gonna actually plug in an extra battery because my battery just decided to say low power. It took time. It took fucking time, because when I met him, I also was not like 100% out of the cult. It was still very heavily in my blood.
Right.
And I didn't know how much it was affecting me. And also, even though my family is not all Jehovah's Witnesses, it's just my mom, I actually don't speak to any of my family because they're really toxic, and they are just not in a good place. And I'm doing good in my life, and I'm happy, and I'm really liberated, and I'm super open about my life, and their whole life is filled with shame and fear.
And it's conditional, right? I mean, their love is conditional.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll love you if you come back. I'll love you and make you feel good about yourself. Right. That's what I'm saying. And like my mom, I've told everybody that my mom doesn't speak to me either. I'm sent her a text the other day, just to tell her I love her. And, you get no reply. And she's 80 years old. And it's like, but if I sent you a text and said, okay, I decided to come back, then it would be okay. And yet we know that it's wrong, and we know what we found out. And I mean, we're not conditional, and neither is the rest of the world. That's the big thing that I don't think that witnesses realize when they're in there. They are told that the people outside are very conditional. As soon as you go out there, I know I've been in elders meetings, you probably have too, judicial meetings, where they say, well, you know, worldly guys, they don't care about you. They just want one thing, and then they're going to dump you, you know? And it's like, okay, well, gee, thank you for, you know, making me feel like I'm, you know, halfway of an okay woman, but that's how you feel about yourself. So then when you go out there, yeah, you feel like a piece of crap already, you know. So it's very conditional.
No, it's
so now
true.
with your mom, it's like
true.
a conditional, you know. Now, do you have a relationship with your dad though?
So my mom, she was really persistent with me getting back, and she was talking to my sister, and then I had a relationship with my sister at the time, and she was wondering why I wasn't getting reinstated, like what was happening. So she got really angry with me. And then in 2018, when I made my video and finally was like, fuck it, I'm just going to tell the world I was a Jehovah's Witness, I made a long video, and I told literally my whole story. And my mom had sent me a text message, and she said that I was no longer her daughter. So she disowned me. And yeah, I was devastated, and I'm like, looking back, I had already lost her from when I got disfellowshipped in 2011. And I've had so many dreams of her funeral and burying her. Like, she's already emotionally, mentally dead for me, and she's passed. My father, no, he's very, very closed off. And right now we don't speak again. But we've had this on-off relationship for a very long time, but he has a lot of trauma from his childhood. And then he's also holding on to shame from abusing my mom and my oldest sister. So he has this demeanor that you cannot crack at all. Like,
he's got his demons too.
Protecting it. Absolutely. Now that he's older, he's, like I said, 83 years old. He's had cancer 3 times, and he's dealt with a lot of things. And I'm like, you know, he's a very good person, but he has so many walls up. And in all honesty, I feel like I can connect with him more after he passes. And it's totally fine. Like, I love and respect him. And he's been a person, how he shows love is monetary. And that's literally all he was able to do for us.
Yeah.
But it's
you just
only
described
because
my dad. My dad was the same way. Yeah. Money. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't have a relationship with him at all, but I think that's how he felt too, you know? Yeah.
Like, I was the first person to say I love you, and that was like after he had cancer, and it was something that I was like, I need to say it. He will never say it to me. So I was the one who went up and hugged him and did all those things. And to this day, like, I would still do that if I saw him. And I'm the one who always reaches out. But it was never I would never had a relationship with him ever.
So
he was always disappointed.
You're kind of on your own as far as family goes, except really Ben and his family, pretty much. And
yeah, 100%.
So I know you mentioned your videos and your channel. I'm gonna drop links to everything for you.
Sure.
Stuff below, because you know, anybody that wants to see Vivian's videos, I've watched them, and I like how you make just little videos on on just things. You know, I talk to him. So my videos are like an hour. No, I try not to keep them that long, but she drops these little, you know, and they're meaningful and, you know, good information. I also wanted to, you do coaching too, right? You're also,
I do.
Tell me.
I do. I vulnerability is what I feel like has healed me. And because I feel like I've been I believe in vulnerability so much, in speaking your truth and being firm with who you are and accepting everything that you've been through, because you needed all that in order to be who you are today. So I help women embrace their truest self and just really acknowledge who they are, because we're just like a big onion, and we have so many layers. So I get to know them literally from childhood, and then I get to know their parents' childhood. So I look at the whole circle here, not just them right now, because in order for you to help somebody, in the fullest sense, you need to know their whole story, and you need to know their parents' story, in my personal opinion, and even their siblings, where they come from, and all that kind of stuff. That is to get them to the next level where they need to be. Because if I just know your story for the last year or 2 years, okay, you left the religion, okay, that's nothing. Like, I need to know everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've been through divorce, husband who died, like there's so much to you. And it's layers upon layers, and that's only the last like 15 years. Let's go back all the way to your childhood. Let's go back to your parents' childhood.
Yeah.
And that really opens,
yeah.
it opens so many gates.
Big
and when somebody's
picture.
honest,
you have to have the big picture. You can't just,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is people are not in tune with who they are. They're not curious about themselves. The first step to emotional freedom and to create like a life of just abundance and just living your best life is to be curious about yourself. Like, really sit with yourself. Like, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I the way that I am?
Exactly.
And just really try to understand all that, because that's a lot.
That's the only thing that got me to where I'm at right now. Is
it's so important.
And saying what, okay, 55 years I was not authentic. That's one of my big words. You know, when you're a witness, you're really not authentic, because they don't want you to be. You're in a little mold in a box, you know, you're just in this little, and they kind of tell you who you are, what you should do, when you should do it, what you shouldn't do, you know, and then you wake up one day, you know, like for me, and you want to get on camera? Okay. You wake up one day and you just wonder who you are. And there's nothing wrong with trying to figure that out. That's the thing that I want to get across, that we, like you and I, you know, what we've done is further ourselves by figuring out who we are. And that's okay. We're all born into this world. And it's you talk about the big picture, okay? When you really back up and you look at what's going on right now, with, you know, like with I'm losing my thought. I hate it when I do that. But I was gonna say, I hate it when I do that. Here I'm it's forgetting my thing. I know, I forget on camera what I'm doing. But you look at the big picture of people and who we really are, and they want to put you into this little teeny religion and say, well, that's where you're supposed to be. I mean, you're supposed to be in this one little group of 8 million people, and they're not really looking at the big picture of how we got here and what we're really doing, and you know, the fact that we are allowed to be people. But when you're a witness, you're not allowed to be a person. You're not allowed to believe anything outside of the little box. And the big picture really is, like I said, if you that's what I was trying to think of saying. I was thinking of too many things at one time. I do that. You know, you back up and you really look at that and you think, oh my gosh, how could I have truly believed that one little teeny avenue of life was it? Because so much more exists outside, you know. I mean, I mean, and I know that you discovered that obviously too. So
absolutely. It's there's so many witnesses that have been out for decades and they're still very brainwashed. I had an interview with a girl, and she said she appreciated all the rules that we had as witnesses. I'm like, there's still like a lot of brainwashing that people have to kind of let go in stages.
It's safer for some people, I think.
100% safer. Absolutely.
Thinking outside the box is not easy, I think, for a lot of people. I mean,
it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah. I think that now for me, I'll be honest, it never really was. I think that's why when I woke up, I went from 0 to 100, is because it never scared me to see what's real, you know, and I don't know why I'm like that. I mean, I'm not saying I don't still have my stuff to deal with. I definitely do. I mean, we all do. There's no way as a human being that we could walk out of a cult after 55 years. There's no way. So yeah, I still have my stuff to deal with. But once I realized what was happening, I looked back and I said, but I kind of felt like that all along, but you're too afraid to say that. And if you do say it, what happens? You get shut down. You're not reading enough. You're not studying enough. You're not doing whatever enough. And so, you know, you get pushed back into that box again.
Exactly.
But enough of that. So you are, I know I got off on a tangent. You are in Sweden and you're doing all kinds of really nice, cool stuff with women and coaching and doing all this great stuff. Tell us how, I mean, how do you feel now? Looking back, thinking of that point and where you were driving to California and everything kind of came together, at that point, it was probably a little scary still. Like, should I cross this line? And now you've crossed over to pretty much authenticity and freedom, right?
Absolutely. Authenticity. I'm also, I love that word. And I have been told so many times that that's something that's also like a really strong value for me, is authenticity and being an authentic person. Because I think that people that wear masks all the time, like, we really didn't get a chance to know the witnesses in the congregation. Like, you knew them, they're with their mask on, but they were a completely different person at home.
I call them really got to know wives. It wasn't like the Stepford Wives, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's sad. Even if you got to know somebody, you still didn't really get to know them. Yeah. Like, it's
what they
completely
really
different.
Thought. That's the thing, though. It's not, you didn't get to really know them because they didn't know themselves, right?
Absolutely.
They only showed you what they were supposed to show you. They didn't really show you, and you can't do that unless you step away from it. There's no way to be able to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
And I don't think they really think about it that way. But if you as a witness really, I mean, if there's any, I'm sure there's witnesses watching, because I know there are, because I get thumbs down and negative comments. So I know there's witnesses watching. Yeah, right. So I mean, if you're out there watching, think about your own feelings. Think about your own feelings deep down in your gut when you go, well, I don't really feel good about this or that, but I can't say anything. I better not say anything. Because if I say something, I'm going to disappoint Jehovah, which we all know that's not the case.
Right.
It's not. Right. It's not disappointing Jehovah. It's disappointing the governing body. They're the ones that run the show. They're the ones that tell us how to feel and think and what to do. And it's ever changing, right? I mean, it's changing all the time. The ideas and the rules, and you know, and all that kind of stuff. So. But I wanted to get across how happy, because you just look happy. You're just, I mean,
thank
how
you.
Happy you are now.
I think that it just takes time. It really does. And for somebody to try to rush into this emotional freedom where you don't feel like you're having this anxiety anymore, it just takes time. I've been out now for almost 10 years. December will be 10 years. I'm 41 years old. I've lived a life that, you know, people would just like cringe at, but I am so grateful for everything I've been through. Not only have I been through abuse from my father, I've also been through sexual abuse, the divorce, you know, disassociation from the religion. And then there's always something coming up. My family doesn't speak to me. There's always something coming up, but I feel so free and so centered and so grounded. And I look at people like everything around the person, if somebody has something against me. So I'm just like in a really good place in my life. And we left California in December 2011, sold like 98% of our stuff, left the US with 3 suitcases and 2 backpacks, spent Christmas last year in Sweden with my in-laws. And then we went to Marbella, Spain for 3 weeks with my husband's friend. And then we went to Costa Rica for 3 months. And then we were in Mexico for almost a month. And then we visited my husband's clients for 2 weeks. And we've been in Sweden now for 3 months. I live in a 365 square feet place. It's like a mini house, and then you see the step ladder. This goes to our sleeping area, which is like it's so off, like you can't stand up all the way, so it's like short, and all of our stuff fits here. Like literally everything we own fits here, which is amazing. Like to have all of your stuff be able to fit here. So I don't own that many things, but I have all the necessary things. Like 50% of my clothes, actually more than 50% are my workout clothes. I'm really active. My husband is a trainer, a wellness coach. So we're both really active people. We take care of ourselves. It's really important for me, like health and emotional health and overall well-being is like my number one value. everything else, like being authentic, is really important to me. Simplicity, I'm a very simple person. You either like me or you don't, and I'm totally fine with that. It's like these things I've really gotten to know myself really well. And I'm just in a really good place right now. And I feel like my mission is just to help people get into the place that I'm in, because I know it's available for everyone.
Right.
But it takes time.
It is. Well, and I was going to ask
it takes time.
What percentage of you wishes you could go back? What percentage?
Oh,
I'm
0?
talking about to the religion.
0.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say to anyone right now that's watching that says, yeah, I'm in it? You know, there's PMOs that are physically in, mentally out, and they're there. Like we talked about in the very beginning of this, you know, they don't, that's their whole world. But they want to be authentic. They want to do these things. They really do, because guess what? This is it. This is your life. What would you say to them? Yeah, you're sitting there, you're watching this. I really want to go. Boy, I'd love to do these kind of things, but I'm stuck. What would you say to them?
And they're afraid of losing their family, which I know that's a huge thing for a lot of people. And I, you know, fortunately, me and my husband didn't have kids, and you know, God forbid, like he took them away from me, and like I can never see them again. Like I've heard so many of these stories, or my entire family is Jehovah's Witnesses, and they've shunned me from being witnesses, but they've shunned me for other reasons.
Yeah.
But my heart goes out to those people. I don't know what that feels like, but I do know what shunning from a family feels like. And like I said, I realize, and my mom especially, she's brainwashed, and I've been okay with that. And the whole organization, I've just come to this realization, they're brainwashed, and I can't break the ice with them, and it's totally fine. But I just feel like, oh, can you just repeat your question again? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh good. You got confused like I did. Now I don't feel as bad, because I was like, oh, it's because I'm old. I forgot my question. No, I'm kidding. The people, like people that are watching, that are
watching
on the fence, you know, like what would you say to them about, you know, they're kind of stuck, you know, they're emotionally, mentally, like they don't, they want to leave, but they
would, yeah. So I would say, realize that if you have family in, it's going to be like 50% chance, but mostly they're going to not talk to you anymore, and be okay with that. If you win the back at some point, that's amazing, but already know that that's probably, they're going to not talk to you. You're going to find people that are going to connect with you, but it's going to take time. And don't rush into anything. You're going to have to walk by yourself on a lonely road for a while, but this lonely road that you're on is the perfect opportunity for you to get to know yourself, because you have no idea who you are. So this is your opportunity to get to know yourself, get creative, try all the things you want to do some skydiving, do some things that we weren't allowed to do as witnesses, like stupid fucking things, ridiculous, but do all those things. Sleep with people, go have sex with people. I know that sounds terrible, but fuck.
Yeah.
if you're curious about, even if you're curious about having sex with the same sex, like go fucking explore yourself. Like really get to know yourself on all different levels, and don't allow the rules that we had as Jehovah's Witnesses to really hold you back. And every time something comes up and that voice is like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, really like associate that to being a witness and saying, why shouldn't I be doing this? Am I harming myself? Am I harming anyone else?
Yeah.
No. Right. Okay, I can do this.
Is it just about the rules, or is this hurting? You know, it's and the thing is, you make a really good point, because the thing is, in a lot of people's mind, they'll say, but I'm going to hurt my family. And I've done that. Believe me, the guilt of, oh my gosh, I'm going to hurt my son. You know, that's a really big thing for me. But I'm not hurting him. They are. No, and that's the place. Exactly. And it's hard for me to still say that, because I have a hard time with that. But we're not the ones that brainwashed them into believing those things. We're simply coming out now knowing what's really been going on, and it's sad and it's difficult, but I mean, we can live our lives and we can be happy. And I mean, you're one person that's just gone on to do so many wonderful things and is happy. I also have because he was back and forth, but now he's gone, so
he's fine. He's outside. I also wanted to say that if you're out, even if you've been out for a decade and you still don't know what you believe in, that is okay. because you were brainwashed for such a long time. Just know that it's okay. And how I tell people what they believe in is, if they feel, if an afterlife feels good in your soul, that is for you, sure, believe it. If you want to believe in heaven, go for it. Like, don't follow the masses here. Follow what you feel in your soul. So don't go by any rules. Like,
there are no rules, really.
No,
there are no rules. I mean, really.
No.
You know, and that's what makes a person happy inside. That's where I got inner peace from. Is just the fact that I realized that
listen to your intuition.
And I've done that my whole life and ignored a lot of it, obviously. And you probably did too. You know, you ignore your gut, your intuition, and you're never happy. And I can honestly say every single time I ignored it, I ended up unhappy every time. And that's why I finally followed it and said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be authentic. And I'm starting to realize there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm okay. You're okay. You're awesome. I mean, you're doing wonderful. And you've got this, you're helping people. And I mean, you know, you still have your videos, and you have your coaching, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So
while I was traveling, tell Ben to say hi now. Come on, Ben, you're going to be on YouTube.
I don't know if he wants to say hi, but that's how I was able to support myself. It's just by being a coach and by having my computer. So it's literally all I needed to support. He's actually getting some potatoes out of the oven right now. Ben, Lori wants you to say hi.
Hi, Ben, because you're going to be on YouTube.
She's like, you're going to be on YouTube. She's like, can you just say hi? He's so funny.
He is funny. Yeah, I know, but he's been back and forth, and I'm like, we have to say hi to Ben.
Well, like I said, I live in a very small space, so it's not. I mean, literally, like, this is my little couch area, and then we have like an outside area. So it's a house. It's a guest house with Actually, I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah,
this is the main house over here, and they have a pool here.
Oh, nice.
It's actually, there you go.
That's awesome. Nice. But the coolest thing to me, I like talking to you. Like, when we talked yesterday, you showed me the street and where you are and everything, and your little place. But like, you just radiate with. But I'm just so happy every morning to wake up, and I'm so happy. Like, when you wake up every morning now, you know that your mind is your mind.
Absolutely.
There's no guilt. There's no fear. There's no shame. Like, I think that's what, I think that's what I wanted to get across to people too, that are even trying to go, but feel like they shouldn't, like they're so scared. You know, you and I are not scary.
That's
people.
Normal. Yeah.
We're on the other side. We're not scary people. We're still good people. You know, I didn't change except for the better. I think I didn't go out there and become anything negative or bad. In fact, my husband has told me he has seen huge changes in me since I woke up for the better. You know, I'm happier. I have more energy. I feel good. And I would imagine you do too, because you've been through a lot of it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
my husband has seen like me crying through a lot of things. So
sure.
No more tears regarding that. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm grateful for everything that has happened. But like I said, it takes time. It takes time. Yeah. Just know that, like,
don't
where I am
punish yourself for taking time. Don't punish yourself. It's fine. It's normal. After what we've been through, normal. It's absolutely normal. Well, is there any last parting words that you want to say? Or I'm just so grateful that
I am so grateful that we connected. I can't believe that we were from the same area and that we connected. Like, blew my mind. And I'm so grateful for social media for allowing us to connect. I feel like we're going to be friends for a very long time. We're going to be in connection with each other.
Yep.
And I hope that we're going to meet each other.
And visit. Wouldn't that be cool?
I would love it. That or some other place.
I mean, I know I can't stay in your little place.
You can definitely stay in the area. It's a very, very beautiful place.
Yeah,
it's and that if not here, we can meet somewhere else in the world. But we're definitely going to meet each other one day. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be the first interview on your channel. It's been so much fun.
Well, yeah, and thank you very much for being on. I think all your positiveness is what I really wanted people to see.
Thank you.
Your smile is awesome, and you can just tell how happy you are. So thank you very much. And thank you everybody for watching. And
yes,
we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye. I hope you all enjoyed that interview with Vivian as much as I did. She's a very positive and vibrant person, and I just wanted to share her with you so that you all could see what life is really like on the other side of leaving the organization. I plan to do more interviews in the future, so stay tuned for those, and I hope this has been helpful. If you want to like my video, I'd really appreciate it, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put my email below. I love hearing from everybody, and comment below. Tell me how you felt about my interview, and I will see you all next time.